that's something that's a little bit unexpected. I was not really expecting that to happen. It's really, really cool just to be able to learn and to figure things out. In today's video, I want to go over the 5 things that I learned by putting myself out there doing in-person markets. I also had some in-person booths that I opened. I'll give you a little insider information about that as well. Some of the things that were aha moments and some of the things that I'm going to be doing moving forward with my small business. So if that sounds good to you, grab you something to drink and let's get into it. This is really the first full year that I've really put myself out there and decided that, oh, I want to show the world what I do and put my lovely face behind it. All in all, now that everything is said and done, because it was a long year, I did a total of 8 in-person markets. I know for the seasoned veterans, that's probably not that many, but for somebody that's new to it, it was a lot for me. I also opened 2, technically 3, in-person booths in various places. That didn't quite go as I planned, but I'll get more into that later into the video. The first thing that I learned by putting myself out there, by doing in-person markets, is that it is work. I mean, you have got to hustle. Let me just set up the scenario for you. Say that you've got a market on a Saturday and you can luckily set up the night before. You go to the venue, set up, you're there for maybe 2-3 hours. Then you get up early in the morning, go to the venue, spend your entire Saturday there. You know, if it's like a 9 to 4, 10 to 5 event, something like that, spend your entire day, break down. It's a lot of work. And I don't think I really realized how much work went into it until you're really in it. Then if you put in addition to that, if it's an outdoor event and there's weather, or it's an indoor event and it's crowded, there's a lot of different factors that can go into it. But I learned how much work really goes into those markets. Beforehand, I'd always just been a shopper and I would see it and, you know, I would think, okay, I get what they're doing, but I just really didn't understand what went into it until I really got myself in there. So it is a lot to do an in-person market. Next time that you go to a craft market or craft fair, just know that the vendors, they put in a hell of a lot to be there. Not just monetarily speaking, but just as far as the time investment. Just something that is very interesting, and very, very glad that I was able to experience it myself and just figure out that, yeah, it's a lot. Another thing that I learned by doing in-person markets is that people can be really fun. They can also be a lot as well. Like sometimes you go to a show and I mean, you make the most amazing connections with people. You're talking to them, you're talking to other vendors, you're getting the scoop, and that's fine and dandy. Like that is one of the parts of doing markets that I really, really enjoy. Now, you're also going to get the other side of that, which is going to be people that may not really kind of understand what all goes into your creations. Getting people to understand that, you know, you're the photographer, you're the creator, you're the marketer, you're literally the everything. Sometimes people don't really understand that and they don't really grasp that concept. We're not Amazon. These 2 hands are not Amazon. They're not Shein. They're not Temu. These hands do all of the work along with this brain and all of the years of knowledge that I have personally learned. So, you know, being able to convey that and convey that story to your potential customers, it can be a challenge on itself. That's one thing too, as far as moving forward with the business, is figuring out the best fit for your audience, and finding your audience is something that I'm definitely going to look at and try to figure out better moving forward. Another thing that I learned is seeing the progress from where you started to where you've ended is very rewarding. And that's something that's a little bit unexpected. I was not really expecting that to happen. But when I was going back through the photos, I was thinking, I was like, man, I started out looking dumpy. Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's probably the worst way to describe it. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have come into my own booth if I was a shopper because I just wasn't there yet. But you got to start to figure out where you want to be, right? So I look back at the photos, even from the like 2 shows that I did last year where I really started. That was like, wow. But you know, seeing the progress of my booth and how I've built it up and how it's just kind of grown is kind of cool, just to see that, hey, you know, I figured out that this didn't work. I figured out that I don't need to take these items. I figured this out, and it's just kind of like a building block process, kind of like, you know, Legos. You start with the foundation, like the foundation piece, and you're building. I know that's kind of a corny reference, but that's the only thing that I can think of right now. Having that foundation that, hey, you want to do it, and then building it up is pretty neat to see. And I'm very proud of how I ended my season. And of course, there's always room for improvement. I mean, that's like a universal thing, is room for improvement. But I am very proud of how far that I came with my booth and my setup. So doing in-person markets has really helped me figure out what I truly enjoy doing. The way that I went into market season was, okay, I need to have a variety of price points in my booth. I need to have different items that will appeal to different people. And I guess one of the things that I didn't really think about was honing in on a specific person, audience that I want to speak to. My main things, I want to be sustainable as possible. I want to use secondhand materials as much as I can. Another thing too is I just want to do my part to reduce waste. Low waste, no waste. I think it's a little bit hard to be completely no waste when it comes to the sewing world, but I want to be as low waste as possible, repurpose what I can, and just do my best with the resources that I have. That is something that doing in-person markets has helped me figure out the best way and the better way for me to achieve those goals. What I'm going to do moving forward is I'm not going to focus on little items like this anymore. Now, these fabric coasters, I made these probably about 3 years ago, and I've had them at in-person booths. I've had them at markets. And, you know, I guess they're just too different based off of the markets that I went to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these and I'm going to use these as patches on an upcycled creation of some sort. Maybe a skirt, maybe a duster or a denim jacket. Haven't decided that yet, but I'm going to take some of the smaller items that I've made and just turn them into something else, because the smaller items just don't bring me as much joy as the skirt that I'm currently working on. And I'll show y'all the skirt. I'm so excited about it. So this is the skirt. It is in the process of putting the cord in it now, but I am so excited about it. But yeah, that skirt, I have been eyeballing those fabrics for so long, and I have not been in the right headspace to put them together into a skirt. But once I focused and I was done with my markets and I was able to focus, that skirt came together way quicker than I thought it would, and it's turned out way better than I thought. Something like that particular project is something that really brings me joy. I want to be able to focus more on those types of items and to find the people that would enjoy something like that. I don't know if I would have been able to figure that out unless I had done in-person markets. And I know that sounds probably a little counterintuitive. I had this idea in my head how it would go, and I just had to try it and see. In addition to the markets, I'll go ahead and talk about the other in-person things that I did. One of the opportunities that I had was there was a vintage marketplace. That is something that I should have thought about before, but I saw the opportunity and kind of just went with it. There was a vintage marketplace that had a booth available. I basically toured it and I signed up for it the same day. Turns out it was not exactly the right demographic traffic. And I did learn that very quickly. When I say that I had two, technically three in-person booths available, I had the one that I started out with. I downgraded to a smaller spot for about a month or two, maybe 3 months. And then I eventually left that place because it just was not, I wasn't seeing the return on my investment that I had hoped. And I needed to pivot and change pretty quickly. So I took my items and I went to another place that I thought would be more of a better fit, that was more for artists and artisans and things like that. That one wasn't exactly what I thought as well. Turns out that the place that I'm at now is closing at the end of the year. So what does that mean for me? That means that it's time for me to pivot. The way that I'm gonna pivot, and that actually goes into the last thing that I learned by doing in-person markets, is that, hey, so editing Christina is here. I just realized when I was editing this video that I went from talking about my sales in the business just straight into like what my YouTube channel is gonna be going into without any sort of transition, and my bad. I got a little excited. What I meant to say about sales in my small business is that it's going to look more like online sales versus in-person sales. That's something that I'm going to focus on more, putting myself out there on social media and just some of the artistic creations that are in my head, and doing that in an online space versus an in-person space. That's what I meant to say. But then I just got super excited and went right into YouTube, because YouTube is another thing that I want to go hard into as well. So sorry about that weird that weird transition without any sort of context. Hopefully that makes sense. On to the rest of the video. I believe that I'm going to be pivoting a little bit more towards let's try this, or let's do this. It's going to be more upcycled items versus like quilting blocks and tutorials like that. I know that's a little bit different than how things have started, but I really just feel like that's going to be more in alignment with who I am and what I want to do with my future. Also, one of the biggest things that's going to change is there's going to be some rebranding. I'm going to be changing my name up. Trust me, it's still going to be me. Still going to be sassy me, but things may just look a little different. Just know that this is just going to have things in more alignment, and so that I can make better content for you all, because that's what it's all about. You know, we're in this together, doing this sewing thing, keeping it easy, no quilt police, no sewing police. We are doing things our way, and that is what I'm all about. I would love, 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 love to continue to have you on this journey. If y'all had told me that I would go from like 20 something subscribers up to what, 1137 or something as I'm recording this, if y'all had told me that I was gonna do that in a year's time, I would have looked at you like, okay, what? I'm so thankful that so many of you have decided to join me on this sewing journey, that you enjoy what I'm doing, and that you keep coming back for more. So I am very, very thankful. If you want to see how this journey unfolds, you can hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know if there's some things that you've learned from doing in-person markets down in the comments below. I would love to hear your experiences as well. It's really, really cool just to be able to learn and to figure things out. And yeah, so I'm excited about my future. If you got this far in the video, I really, really appreciate you. Until next time, I hope that you have a great day. See ya.